So for some reason, there's something in the genetic code of a man when it comes to, for example, fast cars, nice cars. We just love those type of things, okay? And some ladies too, okay? But for the most part, if you have a dream car, and I'm pretty sure you have an idea of what car, if you could actually drive, you would actually get if you actually had the money. So in this video, honestly, this video is not for car fanboys in a sense, okay? Because I realized that a lot of those people that have, for example, an emotional attachment to a car, they become unreliable people to actually talk to. It's like me, when I actually wanted to buy, for example, a $3,000 MacBook, there was no talking me out of it. Even offering me, for example, a good, reliable Microsoft laptop, what was like a third of the price. I was like, no, I just want an Apple laptop. It's the best, but I was just sold on a product. So for this video, it isn't about, for example, hey, this is what I want and I want it. Let's figure out how to get it. No, the answer is, hey, I know this is what you want and here's a road to actually get there. But to get to that point, there are certain things you actually need to do and you need to make compromises in the beginning until you're actually able to afford what it is you actually want. Okay, so keep that in mind as you watch this video. And as always, guys, like this video. I appreciate it a ton. Now, the first thing, guys, is obviously your dream car is probably a car you can't afford. Even if you buy it, for example, you probably should not be driving it and you probably feel guilty about it. I had a friend, he was driving a fancy car and he was up to here with those payments, okay? It turns your dream into a nightmare, and that's not what I want for you guys. So the first thing I gotta say is this, okay? Here's what you don't want to do to actually buy your dream car. First, you don't want to lease. Second, you don't want to finance. And third, you don't want to pay cash if you can't afford it. Tommy, you just told me I can't buy it, okay? That's what you basically said. No, not really, but let me break it down here, okay? Leasing a car. You hear this a lot from little Instagram people, influencers that say, hey, you know what? I have so much money. So instead of actually buying a car and paying cash for it, why would I do that? It's going to lose value. I'm just going to buy this. Well, I'm going to lease this fancy vehicle for like 3 years and then I'm going to give it back. I'm going to get another one. The answer is it's one of the most expensive ways to actually drive a vehicle because at the end of the day, you don't actually own anything. Okay. It's ridiculous and I don't recommend it. If you want something and you cannot attain it or take the L, the answer is just don't get it for right now because that money is gone. Number two, you don't want to finance it because usually financing makes you insensitive to what you're actually buying, okay? You're thinking about the payments per month and not the overall purchase price. You buy a car that costs 30 grand, 5 years later, the car is worth 15 grand and you paid a bunch of money in interest. Also, even if, for example, it is a low amount of money, you just got your income stuck for 5 years because basically you're paying somebody that. On top of that, paying cash. Paying cash is one of the best ways, but if you're paying all your cash to buy a vehicle you cannot afford, it's a bad idea because now all your cash is in a vehicle that's going to lose value. And that's stupid also, okay? So you want to keep those things in mind. So Tommy, what am I actually supposed to do and how do I actually run the math? The answer is, here's my formula, okay? Whenever it comes to buying a vehicle, Dave Ramsey says you don't want to spend more than half of your annual income. So basically, if you make $10 a year, don't spend more than $5 on a car, okay? On top of that, you don't finance it, you pay cash. Always pay cash. On top of that, also, here's another rule that I may add, but is actually optional. Don't spend more than 10% of your net worth on a car. That you can ignore, but overall, the basics are pay cash and don't spend more than half of your annual income on a car. So let's run the numbers here because I love running numbers and I love being able to show you guys everything live, okay? So here's a car that I would actually love to actually drive, okay? It's actually a Tesla Model Y. It's a beautiful car, isn't it, okay? And it actually gives me 330 miles of range, 135 miles top speed. By the way, you don't need more than that because where are you driving to? There are speed limits, okay? You're gonna go to jail. But for the most part, it's a very beautiful car. Now, how much does it cost? The answer is, if I want the long range one, because hey, that's what we usually want, right? Long range, right? It's about $50,490. So how do I work backwards to figure out, hey, is this a car that I can actually afford? The answer is not that complicated at all. The car costs 50 grand. How much money do I make per month? I mean, per year? Let's say, for example, I'm making, for example, $40,000 a year. The answer is, well, I can only spend half of that. So half of that is basically $20,000. So automatically that car is discarded. I just can't afford it. My dream car out the window, at least For now it is, okay? So now I have to find other options. The answer is I can save up 20 grand to buy a 20 grand car, or I can save up 5 grand or 10 grand and buy a 5 grand or 10 grand car. Don't think that because your budget can be 20 grand doesn't mean you have to go all the way up there, okay? You can limit yourself, or you can go all the way to the top, but just don't expose yourself beyond that. So what are the options? Well, I tried to find a bunch of options for you guys because I know people are gonna say, well, I don't just want a boring car, I want a fancy one, I want it like this, I don't mind the maintenance, but I really want to drive something where I feel comfortable in. So I found a few good options here that I want to show you. So in this case, if this was my case, I would say, okay, so what can I buy? What am I interested in? Okay, well, I want an SUV. That's what I want. I don't want a sedan. I want an SUV. I want to feel safe. I want to be comfortable. I want it to be reliable. Those are the things I actually care about the most, okay? A lot of folks say that, but what they really care about is the brand. Be careful with that, okay? So overall, well, what can I buy? Well, obviously, if I want to, I can buy, for example, a 2018 Acura RDX. It's a nice car. It's fancy. It's luxury. $19,600, okay? Not that bad at all. On top of that, then you have, for example, an Audi Q5. It's about $19,495, okay? That's also a valid option. Then you also have on top of that a Mercedes GLC class is also less than $20,000. Okay, you're looking at it. And then if you want something like more reliable that's going to last you a long time, well, you could also buy a 2018 Honda CR-V for less than $20,000 also. My point is, okay, guys, when you're thinking, no, what I want is this, that's the only thing I want, well, this is what you're going to try to figure out how to buy. And then that's going to lead you into, for example, well, how do I finance this thing? What can I do to actually get it, okay? And by the way, the Tesla is so expensive because you got to buy other stuff too. But overall, you got to look at, for example, well, how can I afford it? Can I lease it? Can I finance it? The answer is no. Look into what you can actually afford to pay for in cash. And that opens up a whole universe. So what do you do with these savings? The answer is pretty simple. The average person spends about $716 per month on a car payment, and they actually take 6 years to pay it off. If you actually just grab those savings every year and you basically invested it at a 10% return, well, in 6 years, you would have a whopping $72,000 and $921.77. Now, that means, hey, I bought a Honda CR-V. I paid less than 20 grand for it. It's been 5 years. I also have $72,000. If I sold that car and took some of the investments, which I don't recommend, well, I could basically buy a fancy car, okay? That's fine. That's one way to do it. But if I said, you know what, I'm going to drive this car until the wheels fall off, well, 6 more years later, I would have about $202,000 and $107. So what do you prefer? Your dream car or 202 grand, okay? That is a big difference, and that is a lot of money. Something to consider, okay? So that's the idea. When you're thinking about a dream car, have a budget. What is your real budget? And then work yourself around, well, what can I actually afford that is similar to my dream car until I can actually afford to buy my dream car? Because remember, okay, when you're buying a dream car, and by the way, I'll reveal this to you guys, my dream car was basically a Cayenne Porsche. Those cars, they're pretty expensive, and I like the gray color, the metallic color. It is so beautiful and so gorgeous. I just love that car, okay? But overall, to spend 60 grand or 70 grand on that car, it's just basically ridiculous, all right? Doesn't make any sense financially, because in a few years it's going to be worth less. But let's say I have $1 million in my investment account. I want to grab 4% of that money, which is basically 40 grand with some savings, buy a used version and buy that car. Well, no big deal. I just basically did it the right way, because now I also have $1 million and I can also have the dream car. But having the dream car and not being able to work towards your financial goals is just pretty stupid overall. So that's how you basically do it, guys. Thanks for watching this video. I hope it helps you. If you made it all the way to the end of the video, I want you guys to comment down below. What is your dream car? How much does it cost? And then I want you to comment down below, how much car can you actually afford right now? Your annual income divided by 2, that is your budget, okay? And then comment down below that. It's like a whole homework type thing, okay? What is your budget, okay? How much are you willing to save up for in cash? Because when you say, well, my budget is 20 grand, well, it's going to take you a while to save up $20,000, right? So that's the whole thing. So comment down below, think about it. What are your options? And really go out there and do research. It's like a comment, but it's actually me asking you to do research to actually open up your mind. Don't be trapped in the idea, I want a Tesla or I want this car. It's just a vehicle. It takes you from point A to point B. Yes, there is gas savings. Yes, there is that. But at the end of the day, spending an extra $30,000, it's not like it's going to save me in 5 years, like $30,000 for the gas. It's just not going to happen, okay? Thanks for watching. Peace out. A video here, another thing here, and also peace out, guys.